What is going on? Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a good week. Tonight, we do not have anybody scheduled for the live, so I figured I would just do an AMA. So we can get into. Appreciate you guys hopping on here. People from Australia. I like running it up at night. Get some different people than I get to see normally, which is cool. We can go over anything. I just recently put a video out about moving your digital assets into an LLC, scaling up another service on that side where we create the bank account for people. I know that that's been a problem for a good amount of people after they've set up their LLC. They go to an institution, and because they don't want to deal with digital assets, whether that's Chase or Wells Fargo, Bank of America, a regional bank. There's been a lot of people that we've, helped get their LLC set up, and then for whatever reason, they weren't able to get the bank account established. So that's something that we are basically creating and doing on people's behalf now, which is cool. I appreciate you being here, Peter. I appreciate the support, man. It means a lot. There's a lot of good people in the community that watch on a regular basis, kind of sit back and they don't say much, but they watch and they're here and they're supportive and they learn, and that's really the best part. Is I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. I learn something new every single day. But I'm really blessed to be around the professionals that I have in my life, the people that I've put around me to make sure that I don't squander things or mess things up. And so I'm able to share a lot of the insights and the information that they've given me with other people. And so, yeah, pretty cool. And anyway, so yeah, if you guys want to run it up about LLCs or trusts, mitigating tax implications, I can't give financial advice, so I'll just put the disclaimer in here in the front. Nothing here is financial advice, only for entertainment and educational purposes only. Always consult with your financial advisor, CPA, lawyer, estate planner, whatever it might be, before making any financial decisions that could impact your life. So, but happy to answer some questions for people. Uncle B-Rad, what's up, man? Dan has asked, can the wallet address for the LLC be from your personal account, or does it need to be set up like from an Uphold business account? So if you watch the video that I put out, there's a lot of different ways that you can move your digital assets into an LLC. I prefer gifting them from the wallet or the cold wallet they currently sit in into the LLC, and you'll just denote that on the capital contributions page. And you may have to form or file a Form 709 later on. That's why we get that transaction notarized, so that there's a time and date stamp of when that took place, and it's very easy for you to follow that form later on if it's necessary. But in doing so, you don't get a step up in basis. So let's say you sold your assets to the LLC, it buys the wallet from you, or it purchases the assets. That gets kind of hairy because now you've reset the time frame for the LLC owning the assets, so that resets capital gains, and then also have tax implications, and you're going to have a step up in basis. Now the new baseline for those assets when it was purchased by the LLC is whatever the price that's denoted there. That's why I like gifting. It doesn't reset any of that. It's just moved into the LLC. You can use the existing wallets that you currently have. You don't have to buy a ledger with your LLC bank account and then send the assets from your current wallet to the new one. I think people overcomplicate stuff. Again, that's the easiest way that I've found and tends to be the most efficient when moving assets in there. So to answer your question specifically, you do want to set up business accounts with exchanges after you've established the LLC. But when moving assets in there, you could just gift them on the cold wallet that exists. If they are sitting on an exchange, you could set up that exchange account that's in the name of the business and then move those into that account as well. That would also work. Anyone hitting up XRP Las Vegas? Yeah, last year was great. I really enjoyed that. I had a great time with Brad and DAI. They've got a stellar lineup this year. I'm excited that they got it at MGM. And, I think that event's going to continue to grow. I think that they're kind of shifting their focus this year more to like broad crypto and not necessarily like XRP focused. I've talked to some of the other people that were speakers last year, and they're not on the docket. I'm not on the docket. So we'll see if we end up there this year or not. But yeah, excited for people to experience that. I had a really good time last year, and I think it's a good event to attend. What else we got here? Dan says how to specify gifting versus sales. So a capital contribution to a business tends to be a gift. You can designate that in your operating agreement, use that language if you so chose to. But as long as there's not a documented sale, it would be considered a gift. So no receipt of sale, it's a gift. Another question that I get asked pretty frequently is, let's say you've moved the assets into the LLC. What if you want to continue to accumulate those assets? Again, it would be best if you set up a business account associated with the LLC at a bank, and then also accounts on exchanges. If you wanted to continue purchasing, you would fund the business account, purchase it on the exchange in the business's name, and then move it into the wallet associated with the business. However, if you did want to continue to use your personal accounts in order to accumulate the assets, that is okay, because the transaction where you moved it from the exchange in your personal account to the wallet address that's owned by the business serves as a ledger. It's on a public ledger. You can find all those transactions very easily, and that would serve as your written consent or written action if you were to account for all that in your spiral or notebook or whatever's associated, how you document that for your LLC. So you can continue to document that, but because it's on a public ledger, really don't have to. That transaction itself serves as that accounting for your business. So Dan says, sounds like Ripple is going for tokenization. They are. That's a huge initiative this year that they've put forth. That is what they're throwing grant money at. Tokenization of real world assets and DeFi are their two main concerns on the XRPL. Now that we have the Hook side chain and we've got the EVM side chain, and we're looking for XLS38D to be passed here soon, I think we'll have, X-Chain. It's an exchange bridge. It allows for interoperability between the side chains and the mainnet. I think that you'll get a lot of traction when that happens, and it's likely that we'll see, a lot of applications and real-world financial products tokenized on the XRPL. And if you're working on that, like we are, you might be able to get a grant from Ripple. Let's see here. I'm setting up an Uphold business for my LLC, FYI. An Uphold business for your LLC. I assume you mean an Uphold business account. Very good. If you want access to the OTC desk, you can reach out to us or join the Mastermind group right there, Beyond Broke Mastermind. I think the website is mastermind.beyondbroke.com. You can sign up, and we have, over OTC brokers that we're connected with at Kraken, at Uphold, Caleb and Brown, obviously, and we can provide you all those resources where you can reduce your fees and have somebody that you can talk to instead of just calling the automated line and not getting anything. So one of the other added benefits there. Pay Me an XLM says, Jake, if someone just wanted to live modestly by doubling their monthly income and covering expenses and is not ready to step in large investments, any recommendations on how this can be achieved? That should really be everybody's goal. So that's actually my definition of financially free, is you get double the income of your cost of your expenses to live every single month from passive sources. So that could be car washes. It could be businesses that you own, that you passively own. It could be real estate that you passively own. It could be other debt instruments. It could be loans. It could be alimony. It could be all kinds of stuff. But if you can purchase assets that pay you, and it covers twice your monthly expenses, that's my definition of financially free. So let's say, all in every month, it costs you $5,000 to live. People think they need to be a millionaire to be financially free. No, you need to own assets that pay you on a monthly basis. And hopefully you don't have to do much management on those. If you have a property and you own single family rentals, you're going to be managing those most of the time. I like to get into real estate, multifamily properties that are more than 37 units. At that point, you can normally justify hiring a management team or company that'll handle that for you on the property. And then you don't have to deal with the day-to-day, and you just get the check in the mailbox. So that's always a viable solution. Some people want to be active in the management of the businesses or whatever the assets they are that they purchased. Perfectly fine. Definitely gives you purpose and something to do. But that would be the route that I would go for that. I would find some things that you're interested in, that you know about, or could learn about, and figure out how to invest in those passively. Find people that have been doing it for 10, 20 years and partner with them, make some investments. Let's see here. Robert says, good day. If I want to start an LLC in the Bahamas, are you able to help set this up? We are. We do have a team in Canada specifically that we work with. Aaron Grinhaus up there and his group deal with digital assets. He's the head of the digital or the blockchain council there in Canada. He's got all the connections, and he sets up a lot of entities in the Caymans, the Bahamas, and down south there in the Caribbean. Would happy to connect you with him if that's something that you're interested in. Let's see here. Yeah, would love to have you, Dan. Looking forward to seeing you there in the Mastermind group. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see. We got Jufu Baby. What is the banking institution you suggest for a business account when setting up your LLC for digital assets? So we have a couple. Mercury is great. We have an affiliation with them. That's who we're going to utilize to set up the accounts for the LLCs that are filed through our website moving forward. If you want to go check that out, it is digitalfamilyoffice.io. We have a link there. You can fill out the form. It's $800 now because that includes the bank account. We have a catered template for digital assets that's specific that we'll pass along to you. We do the EIN and the articles of incorporation. And if you need a letter of good standing, we get that for you also. But when it comes to the bank accounts, we like Mercury. They're crypto friendly. They're startup friendly. And Bank of America is probably my other choice, especially if you don't live in Wyoming. One of the larger banks across the U.S. I have other people that have used Wells Fargo and some of the other ones. I don't think those are going anywhere either. But the reason I like Bank of America is threefold. One, Uncle Warren moved all of his major bank stocks there in 2020 and hasn't moved them. He still owns 10% of Bank of America. Now, he has diversified into some regional banks that happened after SVB and Silvergate, and a lot of those other ones went down. There was a lot of them that flew into Omaha, Nebraska, and asked Uncle Warren for some money. I think he, bought some shares there. But still, the only large bank is Bank of America. Secondary to that, they've been a Ripple partner since 2018. Used to be listed on the website. Obviously, that's been removed. But you can go back and find photos of that. And then also, Bank of America has over 72 blockchain patents, some of which involve Ripple's technology. And so, therefore, I'm pretty bullish on them as a company. They do have like $93 billion in unrealized losses, which some people are concerned about. But I'm hopeful that they do have some XRP on their books somewhere, and might be able to offset some of that debt. So those are the two that I like. Another one that I'll mention, not for necessarily digital assets, but credit lines and other things. If you are a veteran of any kind or have a veteran in your family, Navy Federal is great for credit lines for a business. Let's see. Here's another one. Matthew, appreciate you hopping on, brother. Hey, Jake, how you doing? One question I have. Does it make sense to go down the LLC or trust route if your portfolio now may be not be worth it? Maybe answer 10K, 100K, a million situation. Should one wait? Yeah, I kind of have a calculator that I put together for this because I'm nerdy. And really what it came out to is like, if you're an individual, well, it also depends on what you think price of whatever asset you hold is going to go to. Okay. And if you think it's going to run up I tend to think that some of these networks, when they turn stuff on and start using things, they're going to jump very quickly. You're not really going to have the window that you might have in some of their assets like Solana, right? Like Solana ran up 10x over 4 or 5 months. I don't think that that's going to be the case with some of these other technologies. So again, just depends on what you think it's going to go to. 10K, if you had 10K invested, if you're in something that you think could, 1000x, you're probably still okay. Because then I know you only have 10 million, but it sounds like a lot of money. But in reality, you could still gift that into a trust with no tax implications. 12.92 million per person is the threshold here in the US. If you're in Canada, you don't have to worry. You just do it after the liquidity event. You have no gifting problems there. You can just gift to your heart's content with no taxes. If you're in the UK, this would probably be different also. You only get 400,000 every 7 years that you can gift in the UK. And the sooner that you can get it in there, the better, especially if you think you're going to have some pretty significant appreciation on your assets. So your question, I assume, pertains to people here in the US, but I just wanted to give that disclosure. It can vary based on where you live in the world. So with that out of the way, for the amounts that you mentioned here, it's also going to matter if you are single or married. If you are married, you get 12.92 million per person, so 25.84 million per married couple that you can move into a trust. So if you're married, you can really kind of double these numbers. But let's say you're single, and you're going to take meaningful profits, somewhere north of like 50 to 80,000 invested in whatever digital assets you own. Might be a good idea to start thinking about an LLC. North of, a couple 100,000 invested if you're single, and double that if you're married. Might be when you start looking at trusts. And if you got $1 million invested, get in a trust, please. You just protect yourself. That's really the time when I talk to normal people that aren't even in digital assets and they're looking to protect their wealth and, mitigate estate tax and set things up for their kids. If you're north of $750,000 in net worth, it's worth looking into a trust. It kind of justifies the cost at that point. So hopefully that gives you some guidelines and maybe some criteria. Again, nothing financial advice, all for entertainment and educational purposes only. But those are my opinions. Let's see here. Here's a good one. Mr. Z. Hey, Jake, I'm in Canada, Ontario. Hey, appreciate you hopping on, man. Someone can have a trust, but the trust can only exist for 21 years. After that, there can be significant taxes. Any idea? Contact Aaron. So Aaron, again, sets things up in the Bahamas and the Caymans for just that reason for people in Canada. The sooner that you can get your stuff in there in Canada, the less gifting and problems you might have, because Canada is going to get their piece. They're just like the US. If you try to extricate yourself or get things offshore, then they may come after you. But yeah, trusts there in Canada do have a defective. The same thing in the UK. If you die within the first 7 years that you set up a trust in the UK, all of the taxes get backloaded and none of the things matter. It just, again, depends on what jurisdiction you're in. Happy to give you Aaron's information. Hop in the mastermind. Would love to share that with you. Let's see here. Let me pull this off here. Banner. What's this one? There we go. All right. Sorry, still working on these. Let's see. Got a lot of comments here. Appreciate you guys on the question. Scroll back up. Uncle B-Rad, have some awesome videos on your channel that goes into LLCs, trust, family office, etc. Thanks for what you do. Yeah, I appreciate you, Uncle B-Rad. Again, I'm just super blessed and privileged to be around really intelligent people. Some of the best professionals here in the U.S. when it comes to estate planning, tax mitigation, CPAs, wealth managers, all that stuff for digital assets in particular. And I'm just glad people are being proactive and trying to set themselves up for success on the other side of this, because really you should only have to get rich once. And if you got to give, 30, 40, 50% of it to go to the government, so it's a big whack. And that could, not to say it's not going to a good cause. I don't think the government allocates capital well, just personally. But, I think that, 50% of $100 million could be much better put to work by an individual that earned it and understands how to use it as a tool. Even if it was donated to charity and you did things within your community, I think that, that could go a long way. And just handing it to Uncle Sam, not a big fan. So if that's something you're concerned about, again, book a time. We have our professionals that can meet with you at digitalfamilyoffice.io, and would love to help you be proactive. Let's see. Let's scroll back up here. I know there were some questions I missed. Canada, Bank of America is the easiest way. I like Bank of America. They make it real easy. Again, regardless of what state you're in, unless you're in Hawaii, because they haven't had branches there since 1997 for whatever reason. Everywhere else, you should be able to use Bank of America. And because they do have branches in Wyoming, they can look up your EIN. It's very easy to set up an account. Great job with the content and cadence. Thank you. I used to do these on Saturday mornings on Twitter, and I've been enjoying doing these lives. I think, there's a different segment of people that tune in on YouTube and some of the other platforms. And so just want to get this out to people. Again, share my resources and knowledge, and hopefully it just helps at least one person. That's what I'm looking to do. So he asks, what is your opinion on the likelihood that the AMM finally gets votes needed to pass and gets implemented? Funny you asked that. So obviously it got downvoted today. I guess they found a bug somewhere on the ledger that's actually been on the ledger for like 5 years, and just nobody's fixed it. There was a couple comments made, and there was a lot of validators that were on the network that, I say a lot, 6 or 7 validators on the network that were just looking for a reason to pull their vote, it seemed like. At least that's the feel that I got on Twitter. And, I think they're disgruntled for various reasons. But, yeah, the AMM will get passed. It's been a fight, obviously. Went up for vote in October last year, and now we're in February of the next year. So we're 5 months in. It's definitely the longest trial for an amendment that's been proposed on the XRPL. Based on the conversations that I overheard today, there should be the fix for the bug should be pushed like first week of March at the latest. And then I would expect at that point people would move their vote back to yes. And then we would have another 2-week holding period before it was implemented on the network. So could be mid-March. But yeah, that's my anticipation, is that we will get adoption and should be able to use it here in Q1. I hope. I don't have a crystal ball. That's my hope. Let's see. Jufu Baby says, wow, price changed. so glad I did 3 weeks ago. Yeah, well, we upgraded the offering, right? So we still get the EIN and the articles of incorporation for you. But the operating agreement that we share with you is specific to digital assets. It's got some added language in there that we reviewed with our lawyers. Still a template. We obviously advise that you seek your own legal counsel and get revisions made as specific to you and your situation. But it's a bit more geared toward digital assets in particular. And then aside from that, again, you get the bank account, which you don't have to go set up. So just trying to add on, more value. If you are going to pay that much, my lawyer was charging $800 to draft everything before we brought the $400 offer. And that just came with the EIN and articles of incorporation. So anyway, just trying to provide, if he drafts the operating agreement for you, it's an extra $1,500. And again, the bank account's probably, a couple $100 also. So really about a, $2,500 value for the $800, I think is very fair. Let's see here. Jake, I've been watching your videos about what to do before you get rich, LLC, etc. Now I have no wealth. This will be my first bull run ever. Well, congratulations for being here, Robert. I think you're in the right place at the right time. How much money is recommended before starting this process? Kind of the thresholds that I mentioned before. If you're single in the U.S., given those two things, if you have $50,000 to $80,000 invested, probably a good time to start looking at an LLC. If you got a couple $100,000, if you're single, maybe 400,000 or 500,000 if you're married, might start looking at a trust at that point, and that would justify the So we suggest often, not always, but often, a digital asset protection trust that is filed in Wyoming, and those tend to run somewhere between 15 and 20 grand to get set up. If you're in the LLC and you anticipate things moving a bit more than the 25.84 if you're married, you can still kind of scrimp by, because we can gift small pieces of equity to other people that are in the LLC after the appreciation takes place. And, they could be family members or friends, people you're going to take care of anyway. You give them a small or minority interest on the cap table, and then we get a valuation done on the LLC, and we can normally knock off like 20 or 30% of the value of the underlying assets, and then we can squeak you in to a trust afterwards. So that's one of the other benefits of the LLC. It gives you a lot of flexibility, gives you capability to take profits, use those profits in some manner to offset the income and reduce your tax implications. Again, it's tax time. If you guys do want CPAs that are proficient with digital assets, again, come over to the Mastermind, or you can, set up an appointment. We're happy to help you and provide those resources. Let's see here. Here's one. Alice says, I didn't get an actual number on my last question. Asked 2 times to Quincy about percentage of global trade volume market guess for XDC will capture. The real truth, Ellis, is we don't know. And it would be very hard to give you a realistic number on that, just because there's so many variables at play. And if we say one thing and people are just going to like gravitate toward that, and if we're wrong, then, so a big number is what I'm going to say. Probably 8, 9 digits, maybe 10 digits long term, but a very big number. And with that and the volume that's going to come onto the network, I think we'll see some significant price appreciation. I think, not financial advice. Again, I'm going to say that here. My own opinions. Do not make any investments. I'm just some guy on the internet based on my opinions. Okay. Reasonably for XDC, somewhere between $1 and $3 this next go, I think is completely realistic. We'll see how that plays out for me and my thesis. What percent of global trade volume does that encompass? How much of that is speculation versus actual utility? Your guess is as good as mine. That's kind of where I see that going, within the next 3 years, we'll say. All right. Again, great questions, guys. Appreciate y'all showing up and hopping on here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Sorry to hear about your divorce, Jason. And we're happy to help you on the other side of that. That's another thing I want to mention about trust, and this isn't the fun part of this, but I'll put it in here because I know different people have different situations. You cannot evade creditors. You cannot evade current lawsuits or litigation by trying to move assets into a trust. If you don't own something in whole and it's financed, it's also difficult to move into a trust. So just keep those things in mind when you're thinking through stuff. Don't even reach out to an estate planner if you're in the middle of litigation, or if you have creditors that need to be paid off. You're going to have to pay those people off. Like you got large medical bills, or maybe there was a lawsuit, or you got a lien against your home, or whatever else it might be. Again, I'm not here to judge anybody. Everybody has a different life and circumstances. I'm just letting you know that you can't evade those things and move assets into a trust without handling them. So let's see here. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. Tour Dog says, currently creating a trust for my crypto. I'll never sell them as they are. Are there any issues if I hold them indefinitely? Yeah, no. I think a lot of people are planning to do that and pass that down as generational wealth. And a trust is a great way to do that. The assets don't go through probate. There's no public record. There's no estate tax when they pass to the beneficiaries. You can actually set up waterfall trust or insurance trusts where other things get funded. You can have a charitable remainder trust where those things go to a charity upon your death of your choosing. It could be a foundation that you've even set up where your kids sit on the board. The average centimillionaire or billionaire has between 5 and 7 trusts set up, all with assets sitting in them, for different reasons. But yeah, definitely no problems holding those assets indefinitely inside the trust, especially if they're creating income of some kind. The one consideration I would have for that is that you do want an LLC that maybe manages the assets in the trust, or sits outside the trust in some capacity and pays the taxes on the income or the revenue produced by the trust. And what that does, it'll actually lower the tax implications. Taxes at a corporate level are lower than at a trust level. And so if the corporation pays the taxes on behalf of the trust, the assets continue to compound at a higher rate that stay inside the trust. So just think about that. I don't know who your estate planner is or who you're working with, but you might mention those things to them and see if they will, accommodate you and set you up for the best situation on mitigating your taxes. T. Rich, appreciate you hopping in here, brother. What do you think? I mentioned this a while ago. We talked about the AMM and just step back. If they launch the bug fix that they found early March, I think, again, we got to wait 2 weeks before it's implemented. So we're looking at like mid-March before we see an AMM. I still think we got to see price appreciation for that to be used at scale. I also think you need the passage of digital identity for people to be able to use it. We got a ruling from, we didn't get a ruling, but a proposed deal from Congress that states that you got to be a BD if you're participating with $50 million or more. So we're working on getting our BD at Digital Wealth Partners, which is our RIA, so that we will be able to help clients participate in the AMMs if that is passed, and that's the qualification. So hopefully we're in the application process and should be going through in time for all that. Let's see here. Here's another good one. Jake, thank you for shifting my mindset in investing. Appreciate you for just learning and being proactive. I'm continuing to listen and learn. Will we be able to loan our assets in the future? So I think you'll be able to loan your assets out. I don't really like that because then somebody else has ownership of them. And, I want to own my assets. I think you'll be able to take loans against them. So we work with PolySign. We're the only wealth manager, IRA, or family office that has a wealth management account with them. And we're helping them build that infrastructure out with Digital Ascension Group and the family office. And they have the capability to escrow your assets inside qualified custody where it's insured up to $50 million. You can pay for more insurance if your assets are above that. It's insured by Lloyd's of London. And then you'll be able to delegate those or issue a trade line onto things. So your assets will actually never be at risk. In the future, they will have smart contracts where, again, maybe you're able to issue a credit line for somebody else against the collateral that's held and earn an interest off that. That's an interesting way to do it that I hadn't really thought through yet. Potentially, you might be able to, if it becomes a tier 1 asset in the banking system, issue your own stablecoins against it and loan those out. I don't know what the paradigm shift's going to be when it comes to issuing currency and stablecoins and what the qualifications are going to be. I know when they pass the stablecoin bill here, it is going to stipulate, as it currently sits, there's a 2-year moat for people that had already created their stablecoins. And so there won't be anybody able to issue new stablecoins after that bill's passed for at least 2 years here in the US. And, that should cause some pretty substantial market share capture for the people that are already ahead of the curve and probably weed out other people. But maybe in the future, maybe 2027, 2028, there could be the possibility that we can mint our own currency against our assets. I'm sure that there'll be other regulations and qualifications and licenses and other stuff that you have to hold in order to be able to do that, or you'll have to park it with somebody that has those. But, I think that you'll have a lot of capabilities on the other side of this that do not exist now, especially over the next 3 years. So to answer your question specifically, we'll be able to loan our assets in the future. I would speculate yes. Let's see. T Rich. This is a good question. Am I more bullish on BTC or alts? For ROI, definitely alts. That's always the case. Unless you caught Bitcoin like when it was the only thing. Especially, I think we're moving into the next, cycle here. I actually had somebody show me LCX earlier today, and it's up like 10x off the bottom. Having a pretty good run. Not saying to go buy that. I think it's already made a lot of gains, similar to Solana. Maybe it's already played out. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, I think we're going to see more and more of that in the altcoins. Things tend to cycle out of Bitcoin into the altcoins. And until Bitcoin has the halvening, I think we're going to continue to see that trend in alts. And then maybe after the halvening, if constraints remain the same, Tether doesn't pop, and other regulations don't come in, then I think Bitcoin could have another, large leg up, like people showed for the gold ETF, after it was filed over the next few years. So, I would say, honestly, short and long-term alts over Bitcoin, just personally. Again, not financial advice. That's my own opinion. Let's see here. So let's see. Jake said, Jake, I've been divorced now for about 10 years and paying child support. Can an ex-spouse come after me for more money in the event I become wealthy? Would a trust protect me? That's one of those situations where I would probably get your stuff into a trust now, while the court stipulated what it is, because she can definitely come back after you for more money if she sees that you're making more income or other things in order to, take care of the child. And I'm not saying always pay your child support, take care of your kids. I think that's a man's obligation and duty. Sometimes I wish you could pay that to the kid and not the wife. I know how that goes. My dad got divorced and paid my mom a lot of money for a long time and supplemented her lifestyle. And my brother really didn't see a whole lot of that. So I know how it goes. But yeah, to answer your question specifically here, moving your assets into a trust now would protect you from her being able to come back after you for more money later on. Pay me an XLM says, are you working on anything personal where people can invest with you? Yeah, so we filed for our RIA. We also run some funds through the Mastermind group. I can't talk about what we specifically invest in or what current deals we have on the docket, but I can talk about deals that we've already done. And we've been able to get people access to private equity and Ripple and PolySign and some other deals that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to. We qualify people as sophisticated investors in the group because we have a pre-existing business relationship with them, and because of all the resources we provide the Mastermind for financial education and business. And so therefore we feel that they meet the criteria of a sophisticated investor in the eyes of the SEC. And then that's what allows them to participate in the funds with us when we do go get private equity. So there's that way. And then again, the RA that we formed, a registered investment advisor, just brought on a CIO the other day that I feel is very capable and competent. Probably the only other guy in the space that I've found that has his licenses that I really think has it together and understands where everything's going. So we're building out models currently for that, and should be to market, within the next month here. Let's see. Dustin Bowers says, what is the benefit of the LLC beyond protection from being sued? So an LLC does not protect the assets if you are sued. So let's say you rear end somebody and you are the sole owner of the assets in the LLC. You own all the equity. Because it's a lawsuit against you, they can come after your assets, and because you're the owner in the LLC, they can come after those too. Now, if there's a circumstance where the LLC has liability and like a rental property, let's say it owns a rental property, it's siloed away from the rest of your estate, and somebody falls and hurts themselves on that rental property and they sue the property, try to put a lien on it, come after it. That silos that lawsuit to that LLC, and it can't impact your broader estate. You want to make sure that you have your operating agreement and all the documents for that in place so that they can't pierce the veil and come after your personal assets. If you don't have that documentation, that's the first thing that the opposing attorney is going to ask for. If it's not readily produced, they will basically probe the judge and tell them you are fronting as an LLC and you're a sole proprietor, and they should be able to pursue your personal assets. So really the only thing that absolutely protects your assets if you're sued is going to be a trust. But the other benefits are the ability to mitigate your tax implications. So as an individual, you're going to be taxed at the income rate or long-term capital gains, and you're really not going to have many options in a way to offset your income. You're not going to be able to spend that money in a certain way that pays that down, or you're able to write it off. And so, I mean, you can get things into a charitable remainder trust or donate it to things, or there's ways to do it. You can also fund, whole life insurance policies and some other stuff. But again, that's a write-off if it's in an LLC already and you're manager and you're a key employee and it's key employee insurance. And we use PPLI, then we can actually write off the whole purchase of the insurance policy to offset tax implications. So that's the other main benefit. You just have a lot more flexibility when it comes to being able to mitigate tax implications when you do take profit or use the assets to produce income. Carl says this is better than Twitter Space. Appreciate that, Carl. I really love Twitter. I love the people that are there. I think sometimes, I like doing an AMA session where I'm just able to run things down for people, and the quality of questions you guys are asking are great. In Twitter, sometimes you bring other people up on stage, you don't know what they're going to ask, and it tends to be some back and forth and maybe some unproductive conversation that happens there. But, I do really love that space, and we'll probably get back to that at some point, but we're going to continue to do these, to make sure that we're impacting the most people here in the short term. Let's see here. Jake, off topic, but I need to ask about your video regarding the Chris Larsen wallet movement. You mentioned this was Chris moving things around or someone on his team opposed to a breach or theft. Chris put out a tweet that it was a breach or theft. It's just very difficult for me to believe that somebody got his keys and was able to do that and hack the infrastructure. Like, you got that much XRP, you're holding it at PolySign. I'm sorry. Like, if you got that option and you understand that, you're friends with Arthur Brito and you understand what he's built there, you're not holding it anywhere else. They did relabel all those other wallets that they moved them to Chris Larsen's wallets the next day. Previous to that, they labeled them Ripple wallets. And if you go on XRP scan right now, all of those wallets are labeled Chris Larsen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if it had something to do with the lawsuit and his absolvement of guilt with Brad. I could speculate on a lot of different reasons that he might have moved those assets. I understand that he did put out a tweet again that stated that was not him. But it's difficult for me to believe that there was a breach or theft. He's just too high level and too intelligent to allow that to happen. Yeah, I just skeptical. Again, I was asked on around the blockchain what I thought about that, and that's exactly the word I said was skeptical. So that's my opinion. Is that there was some consent there and it was part of something bigger. Don't know what that was, but yeah, hard for me to believe that Chris allowed that to happen and it wasn't holding those assets with PolySign. Let's see. Johnny, appreciate you, brother. Johnny Lakers, appreciate the super chat there. Appreciate you, brother. If you have a question, let me know. I'm happy to answer it. Two Dog says, Jake, you have some great information. I was listening to your stream the other day with Quincy. Appreciate you. Yeah, Quincy. Love Quincy, man. He'll get you hyped up. Quincy, I've met him in person multiple times, and you get two versions of Quincy. Quincy's either like hyped to the moon, excited, running with it, talking so fast almost that you almost can't understand him, or he's super chill and laid back and like almost doesn't speak at all. Like, and there's no in between. He has no, like, it's like on or off with Quincy, and I love him. He's a ball of energy, and he has so much knowledge. Like, and he thinks about things in a context and has previous experiences that other people just don't. And so it's great to have a conversation with him and get his insights, because it kind of reframes how I think things through a lot of the time. He gives me insights into, you know, just a different mindset and some other things that I hadn't considered before. So I really enjoy our conversations. Pray for a liquidity event this year. Yeah, I do too. I think, you know, I'm excited. I think that we're going to get some real world adoption and use case this year. I think we get some CBDCs. You know, maybe Japan's the first on that list. They're in the pilot right now. They're the only G7 nation that's at that phase with the CBDC. So that's bullish for any network that that CBDC would be issued on. Pretty confident that that's going to be the XRPL, but we'll see. Drew, hey, appreciate you coming on, Drew. If the XRPL is going to be taken seriously and function as a new institutional system as expected, there will be an upgrade in the validators required. I would tend to agree with that, Drew. Here's a good question by Rob. He says, what are the minimum balance for Mercury business account, and specifically, what account are you suggesting with them? Just a regular business checking account would suffice. I've moved larger sums of money from crypto exchanges on and off of there with no problem. So that's one of the reasons I suggest them. They're crypto friendly. They actually ask you that, you know, when you're setting up the account, what you're going to be using it for. So just a business checking account, and I don't believe that there is a minimum balance with them. They're an online bank. So here's the other thing: if you're part of the mastermind, or if you need it, DM me. I will send you the customer service number to Mercury. It took me a long time to get it, but I have it. I can get you to a person if you have a problem. And that's all, you know, that's the same reason I use a lawyer to file my LLCs and everything I do. I like having somebody that I can call and get something handled. I don't want to have to deal with the automated telephone game that the majority of these institutions play at this point. So anyway, got that for you. If you do set up an account at Mercury, if you do use our service, and yeah, there should not be a minimum balance in order to open with them. Atlantic Living says, thanks for being so inviting to questions. I need to ask your opinion, okay, on Iraqi dinar currency. Do you believe the paper currency will be some value like it was several years ago? Atlantic, you know, I have clients that hold a lot of it. Okay, they got Dong, they got Zim, they got Iraqi dinar. Is it possible? Absolutely. Do I believe in it? No. And the reason for that is I'm really confident that they're going to issue new currency. There's going to be exchange rate between the old currency and the new currency. For them to revalue the current notes, they would need to be CBDCs or something digital. I think a lot of people are going to transition to a digital system and have new currency notes issued along with that, including the US at some point. And that's just my anticipation is, you know, the people that are shilling this stuff, I shouldn't say shilling, because they do believe in it. The people that I've talked to really do believe that it will be revalued, and they hold a bunch of it themselves. I will say, though, they oftentimes have a monetary incentive to tell you that that's going to happen. They've often aligned themselves with somebody else that is a broker, an exchanger of US dollars or whatever currency you're wanting, and they do make money off of the exchange of that, and they get paid a percentage. So I'm always just leery of that. Again, not going to say that it's not going to make money. I could be completely wrong. But I'm hard pressed to believe that that's going to be the way that works out. extremely confident that they end up issuing new currency and there'll be an exchange rate between the old currency and the new one. Is there a benefit there? Do you make money on it? Possibly. It's not going to be these crazy returns that people keep talking about. So sorry if that wasn't the answer you wanted. I'm just being transparent and real with you. Let's see here. Hey Jake, appreciate you. Smash the like button. Yeah. Thank you, TK. T-Dog, Two-Dog, Tour-Dog. I'll get it right one of these times. Watched your stream the other day with Quincy, and you were discussing IoT, and he mentioned a discussion him and I had about IoT identity. I would love to touch base and hear about the tech. Yeah. If you're up for it, just DM me on Twitter if you can get to it, or friend me, and or you can email me on the website, and I will make sure that we schedule a time and have a discussion, man. If it's going to benefit IoT, identity, like you got to have two things. You got to have custody, you have to have identity, and those things have to be bedrock before anything can be scaled on top of it. So if you have an identity solution that is legitimate, would love to either connect you with other people that I think could help you, or get to know about it. DW says, where to open a trust bank account? Can it be done online? Yeah. Depending on the amount of money that you're going to be moving into that trust account at some point, it probably would be good to develop a private banking relationship. That tends to be the way to go. So like a Merrill Lynch or a higher level account at Bank of America would probably be the way that I would do that for Trust Bank. BNY Mellon, again, we're partnered with PolySign. If they are a trust bank like you have mentioned here, they're going to be a qualified custodian and much more secure. And it probably wouldn't hurt. But the only one that I would really work with in the short term would probably be PolySign. Because again, the infrastructure, the IP, and everything that they built out is congruent with the custody rule that's been proposed by the SEC. And I think that they probably end up being the go-to for digital assets when it's all said and done. We'll see. All right. Katie Green, do you think crypto regulations need to bring institutional investors will happen after FTET, the coming bull run, or is there a chance it could come before the run? I don't think we'll get full regulations on the whole market. My anticipation is that we do see stablecoin regulation in particular here in Q1 or Q2 of 2024. We've got Congress pushing for that, Janet Yellen asking for it. Does it happen before or after the bull run? I think it could cause a significant downturn in the market when they introduce regulations, because all the BS would get liquidated. They'll start running. And what's left will be the things that survive long term after real regulations brought in. And so I think you could see a pretty big downturn in the market in the short term when those things are enacted. And then beyond that, I think we would enter into like potentially one of the craziest bull markets of all time, where the efficiencies are gained by utilizing this technology in different aspects of the economy and financial markets. And that's kind of my anticipation. I think we get one more big pullback in the market here, potentially before the halving, or with the halving, and then beyond that, we go gangbusters. Again, no crystal ball. We'll see. That's my thesis, and I'm sticking to it. Caspa, would you highly encourage this investment? I'm just going to be completely candid. I don't know anything about Caspa. I know Uphold and the guys that run the newsletter there. They're super bullish on it. Obviously, it's already seen some pretty significant upside. I don't know enough about it to speak on it, and so therefore I'm going to have to pass on this one. I will educate myself and put out a video for you. So let me get back to you on that. Scrolling down. Here we go. All right. Dustin Browder. How much XRP is enough for your white glove service after 2025? So there's a couple different variables to that question, I suppose. So we start working with families that have more than 20 million in a net worth, and assets that are non-qualified. So qualified assets would be in an IRA or 401k or another retirement account. Non-qualified assets are in your personal name, in your LLC, in your trust. So 20 million or more there. And how much XRP is that? I don't know. I don't know what the price of XRP is in 2025. Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? No clue. But $20 million worth is when we start working with clients, and we help them develop their family compass or their constitution. We'll draft the governance documents on who has access to what, how often, how family members are supposed to act. In the ethics documentation, we can put governance around how much money they're allocated, what they're given, what they have to do in order to receive the benefits of the family. We obviously establish custody accounts, and we put together an investment thesis, and we'll establish a financial committee and a board of advisors. And anyway, that's what we do with our family office clients. Help them build out their family office, and then hopefully they work with us, invest some money, and we're able to sit on the board and continue to be one of their advisors long term. But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question. I don't know how much XRP is going to be enough, but $20 million is the threshold. So, Raji, a bit shy there. About 20 of those millions is the minimum for our white glove service. And it's a good point. Living Legacy brings up here, people that are in the mastermind group now, you're grandfathered in, you stay at the same prices. The family office services are separate, but we do discuss a lot of those things. I try to provide all the resources and the professionals that we have aggregated at the family office at a significantly discounted rate to the community there. And you'll also get access to, the investment deals that flow through the family office. You'll have access to that stuff, which we have quite a few. So, let's see. BRAD. Any other cold wallet storage like PolySign custodial service that are available for smaller amounts of value of storage? Example. So we actually bring the threshold down to $100,000, Uncle BRAD. That's the benefit of coming in under our account versus going direct to PolySign. If you go direct, you need somewhere between 3 and 5 million of assets that they custody in order to establish an account with them. Because we have the account and you have a sub vault under our wealth management service, we are able to move that threshold down to the $100,000 mark, as long as it's in assets that they hold. So that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, Matic, Chainlink, and then a bunch of DeFi protocols that are built out on ETH. They had to cater to who exists and who has that much liquidity and money and the funds. And so that's why the assets sit the way they do. But if you're interested in seeing a full list of those assets, that's also, you guessed it, in the mastermind. Pokemon says, "Hey Jake, is there a way to change my LLC's NAICS code?" Yeah, you could just refile with the state and the IRS on that deal. You'd get an attorney to help you, and we're happy to help you do that if that's something you need. I don't know what you filed it as and what you need to change it to, but it's normally not too big a headache. Might be $100 in cost. Let's see here. Living Legacy, if you wouldn't mind not sharing the link to the Discord, if you would delete that, please. People need to go through the website in order to sign up for that. Let's see here. Crypto Black, if that's how you say it. When booking one-on-one, better to book with you directly first, or should we be talking to your team member then you after? Our team is completely competent. They've done as many calls as I have. We've trained them up. They're proficient with everything. We've got good people in place. It's not like I'm going to offer you a whole lot more than they are. Some people want to talk directly with me, and that is perfectly fine. I'm happy to take the time to do that. But yeah, that our team members are great and can definitely help facilitate, setting things up and making sure you're situated before price appreciation. So up to you, but like I said, I'm really proud of the team that we've built, and I feel like they're capable and competent. But if you insist on meeting with me, we have that option as well. Let's see here. Yeah, LLC is great for lifetime gift tax exemption. Let's see. All right. Greg Girl. Hey, Jake, do you have an LLC? Do you have to have an LLC before you buy off an exchange, or can you establish it after? Yes, you can definitely establish it after. I just did a video on moving your assets into an LLC on our channel if you want to go check it out, and that'll give you a lot of clarification on how to do that. And yeah, and then you can continue to purchase under your personal account as long as you move into that wallet that's associated with the LLC moving forward. Good to go. Let's see. Jaron Bennett, he says, complete noob here. We were all a noob once, man. And I'm glad you're just here and you're asking questions. Where do I start to learn some of these things? Do you have a video series or documents I can review to begin my learning process? Again, check out my channel. I've got a lot of content on there that discusses a lot of these things. Again, Mastermind is a fantastic resource. We talk about this stuff all the time. We've got tons of transcripts in there of, I don't even know how many weekly town halls we've done at this point. We've been doing them for a year, which is crazy. Twice a week for a year. So, we do 2 a week, so potentially around 100 town halls in there that have everything I talk about here and more. That'd be probably where I would do it. And we'd also have those in text format in the Mastermind as well, if that's something you're interested in. Yeah, this MR, I'll just be real with you guys. So I've joined other mastermind groups. The least amount of money that I've ever paid to join a mastermind group with high level people was $3,000. That was like the bottom of the barrel. And when I did that, I was like, whoa, this is a lot of money. I don't know if I'm going to get my money back. And I will tell you that that's one of the best investments I've ever made in my life. Was getting around people that were far ahead of me. It accelerated my mindset and my growth and expertise much faster than trying to do things on my own. And so when we established our mastermind, I wanted to create a level that allowed people access to this stuff that was just like a no-brainer, and tried to give people as much or more value than I got for the $3,000. So, I mean, some people still complain about the $25. Some people are going to complain about anything. But yeah, we try to make sure that, at $25 a month, you're getting like 10x the value. I want people to be like, I would pay $250 a month for this same amount of information. So that's the goal. Provide a really reasonable product, service, and value for the price that we're charging. And it's a good paywall. The other thing I'll say is, the slight paywall that we do have keeps a lot of the riffraff out. The culture that we have there and the people that are involved, I would say I'm just going to say it, best community in crypto. So let's see. Scrolling on down. I appreciate you guys, coming back here in the comments and kind of helping people. That's beautiful, man. I love when other people answer questions and help people out. There's a good one here from JC Carlson. You're the best, Jake. Appreciate you. How many stablecoins are we looking to eventually fall on? Are looking to eventually fall on the XRPL? I mean, as many as they want to issue, right? So as long as you're within compliance and you have the collateral to back it, I foresee a world where there's private side chains that have their own currencies. Obviously, there's infrastructure and stuff built out by Ripple for banks. They probably will have their own interbank settlement between branches. Corporations could do the same thing, facilitate payments across borders, significantly reduce what they're having to do right now through a third-party money transmitter, save costs and create efficiencies, pay people faster. So I don't know. I don't want to say infinite, but a lot. I think that there's going to be a lot of stablecoins issued on the XRPL, especially now that we do have the clawback feature, which this gentleman here mentioned. That should pass tomorrow if everything stays status quo. I think we're at like maybe 10 hours left or something. So that's huge. You need that capability for banks and enterprises and institutions to adopt the XRPL at scale. Whatever issued assets are on the network, they should be able to claw back if they don't like, where it ended up. XRP can't do that too. There's no freezing. There's no clawback. It's the native asset to the network, and it cannot be frozen or taken back. So just be aware of that. Where do you put the gifting on the LLC forms? It would be in the article that talked about capital contributions. It's normally Article 2 or 3 in your operating agreement is where you would list that out. Let's see. Gerald, if I want to add different assets to my LLC, can I just add a new contribution form and have it notarized? You got it, Gerald. That is exactly how you would do it, man. So you list the wallet address, the ticker symbol for whatever asset you're adding, the amount of that asset, and then the dollar amount on the day of transfer. Get that notarized, serves as an amendment, and you're good to go. Dun, 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 dun. That's a good one. Scott Carroll. Besides a prediction on XRP moon date, I gotta know. Actually, we gotta know your Super Bowl prediction. I don't even know who's playing. Just to be candid with you, Scott, I have no clue. I don't keep up with sports. I have so many other things going on. I'm a fair weather fan for the Cowboys when they're doing well, but when they didn't make the playoffs, I just stopped paying attention. I'm sure, and there's a lot of money to be made at the Super Bowl. There's a lot of people that bet on that. Probably more money to be made at the Super Bowl than on XRP on that day. I don't know. XRP moon date. I don't think there's a date. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I know there's a lot of like riddles and other stuff that's out there, and people try to figure that out. I think there's going to be a catalyst. There's going to be events that need to take place. The amendments that are up for vote need to pass. We need some regulation. All that stuff could coincide at the same time into a huge liquidity push into XRP and institutions moving in a meaningful way, and it drives the price up on the primary market. I think when it's time, it'll be time. And until all the blocks are in place and it's needed, that's the other thing. I think there's going to be a catalyst where it's absolutely needed, problem, reaction, solution. That's when moon date will be. But for me to just arbitrarily pick a date out of a hat, no clue. People have been trying to do that for years, and obviously it's not come to fruition yet. But I will say, somebody will be right someday. If you picked every single day, one of those days is going to be moon date. So hopefully it's sooner than later. We all want that to happen. Here's a good one. I watched a BIS discussion last year, and one of their senior economists compared Bitcoin to collecting bottle caps. Should this be a concern in your opinion, or do they just not want adoption? I got asked earlier if I was bullish on BTC or alts. I have clients that hold very large positions in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those aren't my bias, but that doesn't mean they won't make money. They won't be around. I don't know what the long-term impact implications, where those are going to be 10 years from now. I know that the latency on those networks and the fees associated with them are high and slow. And because of that, I think there's better technologies that exist, and there will likely be other chains and technologies that surmount the quote-unquote blue chip stocks at this time. And it's likely that they will be the Napster or the Netscape of Web3. But until those constraints change, they will continue to be the top dog. There's been a lot of people that have said Bitcoin's going to zero for 5-6 years now. Peter Schiff is one of those. If he had just bought Bitcoin instead of dogging it like his son did, he would have made a lot of money, a lot more money than the gold he's been buying and shilling. So I don't have the answer. Maybe it's bottle caps. Maybe it's gold. I don't know. I hope for my client's sake that it is gold and they're going to be, continue to make wealth off of it. But I have my own concerns. And so we'll just have to see how it plays out. Zero list. This is good. What quarter of 2024 do you think will be most volatile? I think the whole thing's going to be volatile, just to be honest with you. I think we're going to get some significant volatility here in Q1. Like I mentioned, if we see stablecoin regulation come in, I think that has huge implications for the market and Tether. We'll see. And then the rest of the year, we've got the election. I mean, there's just a ton of, we got 140 different elections this year across the world, most that's ever existed. I think we're in for a very rough ride this year with a lot of lows and a lot of euphoric highs. To pick one quarter out of that, let's get through Q1 first. then I'll let you know. Matty G, he says, business proposition. When XRP takes off like a rocket ship, want to open up a gym on the moon. In all serious, Lamborghini, Ravato, Ferrari, Lamborghini, or La Ferrari. I can't decide. That's a cool idea, man. I mean, if you get people to go to the moon and go to your gym, I don't know how profitable it would be here in the short term. But I mean, that's a big flex. Like if you could tell people you had a gym on the moon. Obviously, I'm into fitness. I like that. I think that gyms can be lucrative. I know if you got into like Anytime Fitnesses probably 4 or 5 years ago before they just changed the rules and you're grandfathered in, you can make a lot of money off fitness clubs. But I'll address the nice car thing. So 2 things with that. How are you going to use the car to make more money? And it may not be the way you think. And then secondarily, I would buy an asset that paid for my car. So let's say you do want the Lambo, you want the Bugatti, whatever you want, the McLaren. I'd go buy a car wash or something else that produced $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month and use that to make my car payment. And I would save up for a year or 2 years off of that, or maybe take the down payment from somewhere else, put it down on the vehicle. You're going to have to get the allocation. So that's the other piece of it. If you haven't ever had a Ferrari or one of those other cars before, you're going to have to purchase a used one and then work your way up the ladder so that you can get the allocation. You're going to have to befriend a dealer. Like people don't realize like how difficult it actually is to get those cars. They're very prized. They only produce a limited amount of them. Ferrari actually makes more than they say. But anyway, yeah, I think people just have this assumption they can walk into a dealership and buy one, and that's not the case. So think through that. Make sure that that's on your roadmap and figure out a way to pay for it that's not out of your pocket every month would be my suggestions. And then use the vehicle to meet the right people. You can get in groups of other people that own exotic cars and do business deals with them. Leverage that to build out your network. The right people. If you've got... I wouldn't even want to own a Lambo or a Ferrari, and I'll tell you why. Like the general public knows those cars and they will gravitate toward you. I want to own something that only billionaires and centimillionaires would find attractive. So like if you have a Patek watch, everybody knows what a Rolex is. But if you have a Patek on, only watch people are going to know what that is, and then they're going to come talk to you. And the average person's going to be like, oh, it's just another watch. Same thing with a car. Like I would rather own like something that's kind of exotic, but it's more on the high end, and people that know it's nice, like they will come talk to you. I don't want to draw unwanted attention with the vehicle. So those are some of my considerations around that. I think that it's great. I think that buying trophies for yourself when you have success in your life is a great way to reward yourself. And a lot of people don't do that along the way. And so you can get burnout on your goals if you never reward yourself. It's always a give and take. And then you can also remember whatever that achievement was. So whatever that is for you, buy the house, buy the Lambo, buy the watch, whatever it is. But make sure you're buying an asset that can cover the payments. Man, let's see here. Probably going to run it down for another 12 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see here. Pam, or Pay Me an XLM. Good questions. I say, hey, Jake, if you're ever in Jamaica, we will take care of you and your family. Also, a lot of interest opportunities here as well. Yeah, I was. There's a ton of stuff in the Bahamas down there in the Caribbean that I think will flourish on the other side of this. You've got the Bohemian Sand Dollar. There's a lot of adoption for digital assets. The Caymans is a great place to establish your trust in businesses for digital assets. Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, I think on the other side of this are going to see some significant economic growth. And I'm excited for you down there in Jamaica to be able to, partake in that and take care of your family doing it. Let's see. XRP Whale says 1,000. You laugh now. We'll see how that ends up working out. Let's see. Xparticus. Nice. Jake, where do you recommend someone start a crypto-based international business for someone starting out? Also, how's your golf game? It's a good question. Dubai, Singapore, really good jurisdictions. The Caymans, again, probably easier to set one up there than anywhere else, especially if you're a U.S. citizen or in Canada. So those would be my recommendations there. And how's my golf game? Sucks right now, just being candid. I don't play enough anymore for it to be as good as it used to be. I still shoot like mid 80s when I go play. I played golf in high school. I played with Jordan Spieth, and he whooped me silly when he was a sophomore and I was a senior. We played at his home course, which was Lakewood here in Dallas, when he played at Jesuit. And I had a great day. It was 2 rounds. He shot 62-64, the course record, and I shot 78-79 and thought I did fantastic. And so I'm nowhere near that now. I played every day in high school. I probably missed 30 days. I didn't play a round of golf in 4 years. Played at a high level, played AJGA events, won North Texas NTPGA, which is like kids junior North Texas championship here. Played in the Dallas kids championship and almost won that 3 years in a row. If you'll Google me, you can find some of that. But anyway, yeah, still decent. I still hit it a long way. About 70 pounds heavier than I was in high school now. So crush it off the tee. Still pretty good at that. Long drive at the last scramble that I played was 460. So, pretty decent there. But short game, just I don't have the touch and feel because I don't practice enough anymore. And so it's hard for me to get up and down. So even if I bomb it off the tee, if I've got a 3/4 wedge or something into the green, it just garbage. So, yeah, that's probably more than you wanted on the golf game, Gare. But that's the real deal. Kurt, my man, he said, let's go. 2024, 2025 may be explosive. Kurt, you and me, hit me up on the gram, man. We'll go back and forth. We'll run it down. Appreciate you being here and all the support. And yeah, brother, these next 2 years are going to be life-changing for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. A lot of volatility, like we talked about earlier. We got Black 50. They say, is the family office book on the table recommended reading? Yeah, so this is the actual book. It's going to take you a while to get it if you order it off Amazon. Richard C. Wilson wrote this. He's the guy that runs the Family Office Club, probably one of the most influential people in the space. Definitely recommended reading if you do choose to, establish a family office later on. He's got another book on investment as well. I would recommend both of those to anybody that's looking to establish that. This gives you a really good idea of what that looks like and the actual doing of the family office stuff, and some considerations around the next generation, how to establish things, make sure that it's set up that it'll last 100 years, all the things that family office is meant for. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I know that the cover looks silly. I had a few people say that, but the content of the book is what matters. A lot of people can't get past covers. Most, like 90% of people, never even get past the first 2 pages when they read a book. So I don't really care what you think about the cover, because the content is fantastic, and definitely recommended reading. We're looking to put out a couple books over the next couple years, and when those launch, we will definitely hit you guys up and let you know what's going on. Let's see here. Here we go. Pokemon says, doesn't matter if I filed the NAICS code 523910. I don't need it to be a holding company. No, that's actually a trading company for digital assets. Is what I believe that NAICS code is. You're going to have a hard time getting a bank account, is the problem with that NAICS code. Any bank that you take that to, they're going to look it up and go, nope. Unless they're one that's crypto friendly. Again, Mercury probably be okay for you. But I don't know if you have a bank account established for that yet, but that's the only consideration I have, when I'm labeling something with an NAICS code. The one that I would use if you're going to trade digital assets, so you're going to make more than 20 trades a year, it's probably going to be trading financial contracts. And I don't know that one off the top of my head. I know a holding company is 551112 or 551114 are the 2 NAICS codes that we file for the holding company. Trading one, again, this one here is for digital assets in particular, trading those, and it's going to make it difficult for you to get a bank account. Johnny Lakers says, what I've learned today is that I need to get in the mastermind sooner rather than later. We'd love to have you again. Connect with me on LinkedIn is really the only prerequisite there. As time progresses, the onboarding process will become more stringent, and it's likely that we will raise prices. One of my core values is loyalty, and I take care of people that take care of me, and the people that support and get on the train early on. You are not forgotten. You will be well taken care of. You will be a priority, and those that find me or choose to come on later on, they will pay the price at what it is then. And we'll make sure we take care of them too. But, I want to make sure that the people that were here early, they're in early and we're an early supporter and they're well taken care of. Let's see. Jason Thompson, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We're glad to have you as part of the mastermind. Try to put out a lot of value there, like I said, and make sure that people are well taken care of and they get way more than what they're paying. We will have some other courses that launch this year of putting the final pieces together for due diligence course on PE, private equity, and that should be launching hopefully by the end of Q1 here. Should have something put together for you guys. Uncle B-Rad. So, 3 Starbucks drinks versus financial literacy. I mean, try to make it an offer so good that you just feel stupid saying no. Yeah. Oh, well. Peaky Blinders, appreciate you hopping on here. Almost midnight where you are. Yeah, it's running a little late here. Probably going to wind it down here in a minute. Been going for about an hour and a half, but appreciate you joining us on here and taking the time, man. Let's see. Do you have a video breakdown? Jack, this is Rocky Mountain. Appreciate you hopping on here. Do you have a video breakdown how to operate Beyond Broke Mastermind? You know, we probably need to create a video tutorial on Discord. You're not alone in that. You know, we may migrate to another platform later on once things become more developed. But in the meantime, we are on Discord. So if you have a hard time using that, I'm sorry. I had to learn a lot when we put it on there. I'd never used Discord before. I was not a gamer. It's fairly simple. You know, you just click into the channels and you're able to read through the comments. You get notifications when there's somebody that calls you out in a channel. If somebody lists everyone, you know, you're able to go find that comment. We do have the town halls where you click into the event on the top of the left-hand side. So yeah, maybe we need to create some type of tutorial video for that. I think that'd be beneficial. I appreciate you mentioning that, Jack. We'll try to get something together. Let me write that down. Discord tutorial video. This is good. I guess this is referring to the Super Bowl. Whatever team the actor Taylor Swift is on will be made the win. Peaky Blinders knows what's up. She was holding that Trump flag the other day and saying that the election was rigged. So I don't know, man. Try to stay away from all that. What did? Oh wow! All right, I'll put this one up here. So David's a good friend of mine. He says A0 is the real DLT killer. We have the privilege to know and get to speak with Matt Nienberg on a regular basis. He's the CEO and the founder of Aleph Zero, which is another network that is extremely proficient. It's coded in WASM and Rust, and yeah, great capabilities built out there. Good network of people. Use cases are being built on it, and excited to see where it goes in the future. If you guys haven't ever heard of A0, I would definitely go check it out, read up on it. Again, never financial advice. Always do your own research, consult with your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. But the technology there is profound, and we're really happy that he's on our board for one of the businesses we're involved in. Let's see. Yeah, XRP whale. This is what I'm concerned about with stablecoin regulation. And maybe they're completely auditable. Maybe they're perfectly clean. Maybe there's no problems. I don't believe that, though. I think there's I'm not going to put a percentage on it. The cryptocurrencies that are pegged to Tether, I think will fall when the liquidity, because it's the third largest market cap. It's one of the most liquid assets in crypto. You know, besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is the most liquid asset in crypto, the most liquid stablecoin. Ripple uses it to transmit payments in certain corridors for ODL, and they use that over XRP in certain corridors, the more liquid ones. So in order for them to fulfill the use case with XRP and use it across all the corridors, maybe Tether has to go away. We'll see. Or XRP has to become more liquid, one of the two. So what are the implications? I think the broader market comes down when that happens. And then the ones that are depegged or pegged to other things or have real use case, stick around. And you guys probably know what those are. Let's see. Uncle B-Rat says, how much do you bench press on the moon? I don't know how much I could bench press on the moon, Uncle B-Rad. I can bench press about 350 here on Earth. So I don't know what that translates to on the moon. Marvin Davis says, what's up, Jake? Love your info, bro. They can keep the cars. Yeah. You know, the cars aren't for everybody. I'm not really the car guy. Again, I think it's good to reward yourself with trophies and whatever that is for you, you know. And again, don't make it where it's a detractor or a deficit on your life. If you're going to have it, try to have something else pay for it, or use it to your advantage in some capacity to network and build your wealth in other ways. All right. We got Fawty D. Hey, Jake. What is the contact we can reach out to in Australia for advice? Thank you for all you do. So my buddy Kent is there in Australia with you guys. I just recently got acquainted with another lawyer in a firm there. Kent doesn't want to be the guy. He wants to run fund, and he's affiliated with all the other family offices there in Singapore, Southeast Asia, and Australia. The only person I've ever met that had a family trust set up that used an SPV to purchase his XRP and other digital assets. When I got on the call with him, I was like, thank you. Somebody understands what they should be doing over there. So I know if he does, the professionals he's working with do too. So I'm excited to be able to meet that law firm and potentially provide them as a resource. I just want to always do due diligence on people before I'm willy-nilly handing their information out, and make sure that they do have people's best interests at heart and are competent and capable to help them. So should be able to have that meeting within the next week here, and then I will readily hand out that information to others so that they can reach out to them. That's probably been the coolest part about all this, just in general, is the people I've been able to meet in other jurisdictions across the world. We got to travel to Dubai last year. Traveled more last year than I've ever traveled my whole life. Felt like I was living out of a suitcase for half the year. But I got to experience so many things and meet so many cool people. It was definitely worth it. And this year we're going to try to dial the traveling back a little bit, just so that my wife doesn't kill me. And I want to be around for my son and him growing up too. So, but yeah, I definitely want to continue to travel, go places, meet people, do things at a high level. And it's been really cool to have people reach out from other jurisdictions and see kind of the momentum of what I'm building over here and the help that I'm able to provide people. And they want to be a resource also, which is very nice. Sir Tori, he says, what if someone wanted to work at the family office? Any tips on how to go about that? So there is a course that was put out by Richard C. Wilson in the Family Office Club called a Qualified Family Office Professional. It's the only certification that exists for family office professionals. I would start there. Read the books on family office and take that test. Richard puts out a wealth of information on his YouTube channel if you guys want to go check it out. I believe it's the Family Office Club, and there's not that many subscribers. He's very niche. He deals with high net worth individuals and family offices. That's all he really cares is subscribes to his channel. He runs, multi-million-dollar funds that invest in dentist offices and some real estate. But he has a lot of great information on his channel. So that's really where I got exposed to the concept and learned everything that I have. Apart from being surrounded by the other professionals and other family offices I deal with now. And that would be where I'd start. I'd just aggregate as much information on the topic as I could, and maybe pass that test. And then you and I have talked. We'll find a spot for you, Sir Tori. We have Crypto Black. If all your crypto assets are in Cold Wallet, do you need to have it more to another storage to be able to use? Have to move to another storage in order to be able to use an LLC? No. Yeah, you can just list the cold wallet address there in the capital contributions and gift it, and you're good to go. Thank you, Living Legacy, for dropping the Mastermind link there. Do you have a code for 25? I only see 100 all the way at the bottom. If you're interested in just the 25 and the social membership, you don't get all the resources and you can't participate in the funds that we run. But for the 25, like you get access to a lot of stuff aside from that. And so that the 100 is for all the resources and to be able to participate. $25 of social membership, and you get access to the majority of the channels in the Discord, all of the recordings, basically all the professionals and everything else that we have listed there too. So, and then you get to, ask me questions a couple days a week, and we have other professionals that are in there, very competent and capable individuals that do come in and speak Saturdays and Mondays with myself. So, Here we go. Uncle B-Rad. Always good questions, man. Appreciate you in the chat. Any other cold wallet storage like PolySign, custodial service that are available? Oh, did I already run through all the comments here? I know I read that one earlier. One-on-one. Yeah, I think I actually got through all of the comments here. Wait. Peaky Blinder says past bedtime. Good night. Good night, man. Appreciate you hanging out as long as you did. I think I'm going to wrap it up here shortly as well. I want to learn Rust so badly. I think putting identity on the kernel of the Linksys system would be interesting. See, like, Tordog, I know enough to be dangerous. What you just talked about there, over my head, man. That's, talking dirty, technical talk to me. And you would nerd out, with Matt. I'm sure you and him would have a heyday on going through that stuff. They're doing some really cool things on the chain over there with identity in particular. So, maybe that's something that's already under the works. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, you were able to get a bank account with that NAICS code. So would you say that is okay? Smart move. Yeah, then you should be good to go. If you have a bank, that's my only concern with using that number for the NAICS code is, your the bank account situation. The other consideration there is if you are a trading company, you don't get to take advantage of long-term capital gains. All trades and all income to the company is going to be considered income and taxed that way. You will still have the capability to offset the tax implications by using that revenue to purchase things and do other stuff with it. So that's really the only other consideration there. And the benefit of a holding company versus a trading company is, but again, I don't know how often you're trading. If you are trading more than 20 times a year, there's a big benefit there because you're only taxed on the profit or loss at the end and you don't have to worry about all the trades in between. Whereas an individual, like you got to attach yourself to Coinly and then, have the full ledger of all the transactions and the profit and loss on each one. And there's tax implications on each one. And it's crazy. But if you have an LLC and you're in the business of trading digital assets, you're only taxed on the profit or the loss at the end of the year. So those are the two other considerations I would have with that NAICS code versus a holding company. Dun, 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 dun. Jake, thanks for setting up my LLC in Wyoming. You're very welcome, and creating tax ID. I just got the bank account set up today, and now I just need to wait. That's right, man. You're in position. You're ready to go. You've been proactive. And I love that. We've been able to help people get in position where they can take full advantage of this and mitigate their tax implications and set themselves up for success. And I just applaud, the over 500 people that we've been able to, connect with and help set things up at this point and have taken the initiative. There's a lot of people, excuse me, that are still sitting on the sidelines, not paying attention. And I think maybe on the other side of this, they'll wish they've taken action. But if they don't, we have contingency plans for those people as well. I've got a meeting on Friday to finalize some stuff for the PPLI that we offer. So that's the private placement life insurance. And we're able to put an insurance wrapper around your digital assets. You have to have at least $5 million worth of digital assets in order to do that. But it is another fantastic solution to be able to basically remove any tax implications that you might have. It's best if it's already in an LLC because we can write it off, wink, wink. And then, the assets grow in there tax-free and they pass to your estate or your trust that you set up with no tax implications. And we still have full control of the assets. We can do whatever we want to within that. There are some stipulations on how it has to be invested and what percentage, the digital asset can make up of the full 5 million. But we're working out ways. That's what the meeting on Friday is about. So ways around that. Kevin Dory, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you in the group, brother. Hopefully you find it valuable. If you do, give us some feedback. Go to there's a channel for self-promotion. Go in there, tell us about yourself, tell us about your business, how we can support you, what you're looking forward to get out of the community. And we'd love to learn more about you and how we can help you, brother. Appreciate you joining. All right, looks like we made it to the bottom down here. Cassandra, I see that you joined us, sweetheart. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Another wonderful member of the Mastermind community. If you guys don't follow her on X, go check her out, Cassandra. MR, do you recommend taking the test to be accredited on Link2? I do not. You can join the Mastermind. Soft plug. If you're not accredited, we can involve you in some capacity on the capital raises that we do through the Mastermind group. Again, because you are able to get the education and you're part of the group. We have a pre-existing business relationship. We run 506Bs out of the group, and we can involve up to 35 non-accredited investors on the deals we do. So there's that way. Or you could go take your Series 65. You could pass it. You're going to have to get a broker to sponsor you and hold your license. You're also going to have to register all of your investments with the SEC and FINRA, depending on how much AUM that broker deals with. If it's over 100 million, it's going to be the SEC. If it's under 100 million, it's going to be FINRA. You're going to have to register in the state that you operate out of. And then you're also going to have to keep up with all of the continuing compliance each year, which will be 20 to 40 hours of studying and taking tests and doing all that. So if you want to do all those things, and you do want to give financial advice, you want to help people, absolutely go take the 65. If you're just doing it to be accredited, the test is about 75% compliance. It's about 25% on how to actually invest and help people make money. So unless you really want to learn about all the standards and the legislation, regulation, compliance that an RIA and an investment advisor have to deal with, probably not going to make you any better investor. And it's just going to cause you a bunch of problems and extra stuff that you have to do in order to maintain that accredited status. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Hopefully the SEC does pass a ruling in the next year here where there's a different test to become an accredited investor. I know people that make enough money to be accredited that know absolutely nothing about investing. And they may have come into that money a lot of different ways, through a lot of different means. But just because you know how to make money does not mean that you know how to invest money. It just means that you have less risk. And that's really what they're evaluating there. Like, okay, well, if you lose this money, it's not that big a deal for you because you have a high income or you have a high net worth outside of just this one investment. So is it wrong? No. Could it be better? Absolutely. And I'm hopeful that they do, create a test that allows people to really show their expertise in investing and become accredited through that mean instead of the garbage that exists now. Tour Dog says, time for me to get the kids down. Looking forward to connection. Awesome stream. I'll be in the Discord. Appreciate you, brother. Glad you were on here. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Go enjoy your kiddos. Hope you read them bedtime stories. I read my kiddo a bedtime story before I hopped on. So got to spend time with family. All right. Well, it seems like I'm to the bottom of the list here and at a good stopping point. So I'm probably going to wrap it up. This has been great. You guys asked great questions. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We were up to about 100 people there a couple times throughout the hour watching, hanging out with us. I know it's late. So could be doing a lot of other things, potentially even sleeping. And you chose to spend that time with us. So it's much appreciated. Again, if you want to check out the Mastermind, would love to have you guys in there. And then also digitalfamilyoffice.io. If you want to schedule a time with me or my team, you're welcome to do that there. Or we also can file the LLC, set up the bank account, and do all the other stuff for you in an automated way. So hopefully this has been valuable for you. Again, appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will see you on the next one.